In the aftermath of the Supreme Court's ruling overturning Roe v. Wade, many states are now acting to virtually eliminate the ability of a woman to obtain an abortion. In some states would even prosecute healthcare providers who perform the procedure. We'll talk about all of that with our guest today, a women's health coach, Cath Perez. Stay with us.
Welcome to Lean to the Left, home of no-holds-barred commentary, plus interviews with fascinating people, some of them top experts, others simply with interesting stories to tell. You'll never know who'll show up at Lean to the Left. Now here's your host, Bob Gatty.
Cathy Perez always had a passion for health and fitness, being organized and sharing her curiosity for life to anyone who would listen. After many years in the corporate arena supporting others with administrative and HR tasks, Cathy became a health coach. She's a certified healthy eating and weight loss coach, a certified yoga instructor, and the 159th worldwide certified Konmari organizing consultant. I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure that if we ask her, she will tell us. Cathy now helps women create a healthy relationship with anxiety and stress with healthy habits that she took over 20 years to learn. She's a slow learner. Took her 20 years to figure this stuff out and to cope with her own anxiety disorder. Now, Cathy is a strong advocate for women's rights, and today we're going to focus on reproductive justice. Cathy, welcome to the Lean to the Left podcast.
It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Bob.
Thank you. I've been looking forward to talking to you. Now, tell me, what do women and others who don't identify as binary require right now, and why should the country care?
Awesome, loaded question. Thank you.
I know it's an awesome, loaded question. You sent it to me and asked me to ask you, so I'm asking you.
Thank you so much.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is how it works. This whole thing is stacked.
To everyone's win-win moment, right? Yeah. Definitely. Okay. So yes, definitely. This is going to be actually very simple because other questions will lead into or feed into this. But honestly, for me right now, I'm on a mission. And why do women require right now, or what we require, and those who don't identify as binary? Well, we want equal rights. Simple. It's pretty simple. Yeah. And the way to do that is to get the Equal Rights Amendment, or ERA, added to the Constitution. Like now. Like, it's been 100 years in waiting. It's time. It's been time. An immediate way, or a way for us to at least get some type of help and attention and proper respect is to pass the Equal Rights Amendment. And you can do so by going to the Equal Rights Amendment Coalition.org, and you can find out more there. But simply put, let's face it, this society is based on patriarchy, and it's also based on white supremacy. And there's a lot that I'll talk about later, but honestly, to just keep it really simple and short, the Equal Rights Amendment can at least help eliminate the obvious problem that women and non-binary people face when it comes to just having every right that white men have. And so this will help us out big time. And that's a simple ask. That's all we're asking, is to have that.
It's a simple ask. The thing is that it's got to be approved by how many states?
It's actually pretty much, that's the whole point. It's actually been ratified now. Not ratified. It has been. And so now all that has to happen is that the president gets to tell the archivist, the National Archivist, publish it. That's it. They just have to make sure that on the Senate floor, it gets yes, it's affirmed, it's ratified. And Schumer has said that he'll do that, but we're still waiting. And so as soon as that gets done, then the National Archivist can just say, yes, it's published, and now it's part of the Constitution.
Oh, okay. You don't have to deal with the House of Representatives. That's a good thing.
As far as I know, no, it just needs to be
the Senate. Again, the Senate ratifies
it. Because everything has been done, that time limit has to be removed. That's all that has to happen. And so they can do that. And
I see.
Just like that, just how we were taking rights away from us, we can have more rights given to us. Why is this taking so long?
Why is this taking so long? It seems like they've been talking about that forever.
Yeah, at least 100 years, at the very least. So it's about time.
I'd say so. Okay. So what's reproductive justice all about?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Reproductive justice, or RJ as I call it, Reproductive Justice 101, for anyone who wants to get a little bit more fluent in this. Reproductive justice is when everything required to help people thrive is available to all people. So reproductive justice means you make your own decisions about bodily autonomy, choosing to get pregnant, parenting, planning families, and expressing sexuality.
Okay. And so how does that play into this whole issue about abortion?
For sure. So we are finally moving away, as those who advocate for reproductive justice and reproductive freedom, we're moving away from the idea of pro-choice, and we're moving towards pro-decision. So in other words, another way to look about, the idea of reproductive justice is the complete physical, mental, spiritual, political, economic, and social well-being of women and girls, and those who don't identify as binary, but can still get pregnant, and will be achieved when women and those mentioned have the economic, social, political power and resources to make healthy decisions about their bodies, sexuality, and reproduction for themselves and their families and their communities. So if someone makes that choice and decides this pregnancy is not going to go to term, they have their resources around them. They don't have to go to a clinic in another state. They don't have to go out of even their own community. They have the support they require in their community to make that decision and have it support them. And so if that includes a decision to end a pregnancy for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. That's what reproductive justice means.
What can be done to support reproductive justice?
So, two ways that anyone can help. And again, this is a touchy matter, so we get to go to those hard places, have those hard discussions. But what can be done to support reproductive justice? We get to dismantle what causes the need for reproductive justice, which is dismantling white supremacy. And looking at how you as males, if a male is listening right now, particularly white males, have benefited from the systemic institutions of racism and misogyny, even if you don't believe in those particularly hardcore, right? If you don't identify as a white supremacist, hopefully not. But even if you don't, you have to understand that as a male, specifically even as a male, you have the benefit of the doubt that I still don't have. And so there are not laws keeping you from anything. All the laws work to your benefit. So if you're willing to do the hard ask and say, how have I benefited, but not really realize how it's taken away from someone else, i.e. a woman like myself who's double hit. I'm a Latina. So that means I'm a minority, and that means I'm a woman. So support comes in the willingness to look at oneself and say, okay, in this systemic institution that is white supremacy, how have I gained, but not let others take up the same rights as I do? And then the second way is to vote for legislators who will value democracy and human rights for everyone, not just a few, and not just through the biased lens of white Christian nationalism, but literally realizing that democracy comes best when we have diversity, right? And that we vote in to keep democracy, because we are rolling really quickly, very scarily, into the realm of fascism. I think anyone can agree with me. And so give up the white power, the white supremacy, give up the idea of white Christian nationalism, because that's just equivalent to white supremacy, and realize that when we dismantle the hierarchy of white supremacy, then we will gain reproductive justice a lot quicker.
That can be a little bit difficult for some in to accept.
Absolutely. And there's no easy way around it. You have people like Senator Rubio, you have, and his governor, that are raging culture wars. And anyone who wants to see status quo could pretty much say that fascism has now already taken over Florida. It's not the majority of the population. It's a small majority that just happens to have a lot of power, and they're using it, and it's taking us into a place that we should not go. So if legislators were voted in that were pro-democracy, pro-human rights, we would see a different outcome. And so it's going to take, right now, the Supreme Court, right, totally took away half of the population's right after 50 years. They're not voted in. So why not change that system? Make sure that there are different ways to make the Supreme Court more judicial and more just. Right now, it's not. It's completely another arm of the right wing. And that's pretty scary.
So you would expanding the Supreme Court?
Actually, there is a school of thought somewhere. I'm not against it, but there is even a better solution, and it's about having rotation, so that it's not
having
based
what?
on...
I'm sorry?
I remember reading somewhere, and I don't know where I read it, so I can't give an exact reference, but it's the idea that you actually have a rolling rotation, meaning that they're not life appointments. They have an 18-year span on the court. And so without necessarily having to increase the amount of justices, you could easily take away the power grab by simply saying, okay, this justice is only in for 18 years, and then making sure that there is at least an equal amount of justices, right? So if that does mean expanding, fine. But it can't be anymore where a president is allowed to pick, because now we have Supreme Court justices deciding, again, for a very small, loud minority, what the whole country is supposed to take up. No, that's not democracy. Yeah. It's a pretty scary situation that we're in.
Yeah. All of this can cause women a ton of stress in their lives, right? Trying to deal with this, dealing with the political realities of the way things are these days. You've got some states that want to throw doctors in jail. You got states that want to throw people in jail if they give somebody who wants an abortion a ride to a state where they can get him. For crying out loud, the crazies are taking over in my opinion, especially in the House, with the Republicans now having their slim but still a majority, and they have a right to, and now they can control all the committees and all of that. So I think we're in for a couple of tough years, I'm afraid.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree completely, yes.
Yeah. Okay. as a health coach, now let's talk a little bit about what you do as a health coach. I presume that your clients deal, obviously, with anxiety and stress. And how do you help them cope with that?
Absolutely. That's an easy question. I do work with specifically women, and any woman, I should say, who is dealing with excessive anxiety. I always advocate, because I went through therapy, go to therapy. I'm not a medical or licensed professional. I'm a health coach, so I'm different. Fill that gap between when that person does see therapy, right, or a therapist, and then when they're out on their own trying to navigate life. So I have a really cool, just 3-pillar system that helps women learn how to be, right? I'm about teaching someone to fish, not telling them how to fish, letting them fish how they wish. But it's a 3-pillar system, and it's all about, first, building confidence. That is huge. That's a big part of why anxiety even exists. Second is managing any type of anxiety triggers, and that's both and mental. And then the third pillar has to do with strengthening the body-mind connection. I definitely come from the school of thought that Mother Nature knows best. But unfortunately, the Western medicine industry doesn't believe that. And someone sits on whether you want to use holistic means or if you want to go through Western medicine. And I'm not against Western medicine. If I break my arm, I want it cast, right? But there are also other alternatives to just using Western medicine. And so I'm a proponent of integrative medicine, right? And so seed therapy, for sure. If you require any type of medication for really high anxiety, please do. And then also utilize what I can coach you through so that maybe over time, the reliance on the medication can fall away, if not completely. So it's a matter of just realizing that anxiety isn't going anywhere. It's part of our fight or flight system. Like, it keeps us alive. So it's not bad. It's just some of us, unfortunately, have a little too much going on. And so we get to just find better ways to talk to it, to let it know that we're not always in danger. And then from there, they learn how to go about life in a totally different mindset. And it comes down to how you view anxiety. So in a simple way, yes, I can help women, and I'll have a ton of fun doing it.
Okay. We were talking about abortion. Let's just, I just wanted to ask you regarding women who need the procedure, but they live in states that, like South Carolina, where I live, that they want to throw them in jail and throw away the key, for crying out loud. What's your advice to women that are in that kind of situation?
Absolutely. So this is definitely getting more difficult because now the far right wackos are trying to basically usurp the First Amendment so that you can't even search on Google for abortion or for anything that has to do with abortion. Imagine that. So my advice as a reproductive justice advocate would be, and as a health coach, this June 24, 2022 upheavaled everything for women, including all my clients, right? Including myself. So I had to start thinking about, okay, now this is an additional threat to them and I have to help them along, right? And even for my own preservation, I have to take measures. But my first advice is don't be afraid to seek out nationally trusted networks, places like Planned Parenthood, places like NARAL, so organizations that are actually proven and have women's best interest in mind, or those who are non-binary. And also get informed on rights. And I can also help my clients in that fashion. So I have another business. I don't necessarily talk about it so much because I'm more about, again, it's encompassing of what I do, i.e. helping women neutralize their anxiety. But it's about getting informed about what your rights are in any situation all over the nation. And that's another way I help my clients. So the most important thing, though, is to not, unfortunately, tell everyone and their mother what you are going through. That sounds funny, but in Nebraska, a mom is now probably facing criminal charges because she texted her daughter, "Oh, I got you the pills for your abortion." And now her and her daughter are facing criminal charges. So you can't even trust, obviously now, unfortunately, your loved ones. Not that there was anything amiss at that point, but what I'm saying is seek out trusted national networks first before you even talk to anyone that you consider family or friend, and keep it to a minimum when you do, because I can't even use technically now my menstrual cycle app, because if they were to be subpoenaed, even though they said they wouldn't comply, they could still send all my information. And I'm like, hell no. And that's why I do have an iPhone. This will be a plug for iPhones. Everything's encrypted, by the way, on an iPhone. So your text messages are encrypted and everything else. But yes, that's how I would help. That's how I would share how to hopefully help people, say in South Carolina, find help. Because nothing happens, or I should say, you looking doesn't mean anything other than you looking. So they have not taken away our right yet to just look up information. Anyone could look up information for any reason. So for now, at least, the First Amendment protects us from looking or for looking. But for how long, I don't know. So
are you telling me that they want to prosecute people for doing a Google search about abortions?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Where? I didn't hear that. Where?
Yeah, it was, I learned about it through my reproductive justice leadership series. I'm NPR junkie, so I was always listening to NPR, but on several different occasions, there have now been instances where and the Texas law is the perfect example. If I were somehow implicated in searching for even outside help for an abortion, someone could, let's say some psycho to control this is a really out there example, but this is how this works. If someone hacked my computer and then saw that I had looked up abortion clinic, let's say in, I don't know what's near Texas. I don't think there's anything near Texas, unfortunately, that can offer abortions. But anyway, if I was looking it up, someone could actually say, okay, now I'm going to sue this. It's not against the woman, right? Supposedly. But if anyone was helping them, i.e. that organization, now that $10,000 bounty could be levied against, obviously, that person that found out what I had searched for could then go and say, oh, that organization is trying to help this woman get an abortion out of state. Now, of course, it's still technically illegal, right? Because no state can tell another state what to do, but that's where it's going to.
Incredible. All right.
Yeah, stuff that men don't think about.
I do, because my wife talks about it all the time.
As she should.
Funny, I've been in and around politics for many years. I worked on Capitol Hill for 2 members of Congress back in the 70s. And abortion was a big fight then, for crying out loud. Yeah. And it still is. It just is incredible to me. And now we have the abortion pill, and some of these states are trying to ban them. South Carolina, for example, the governor here, Henry McMaster, wants to do away with the ability of women to obtain the abortion pill.
He may get his way no matter what.
Actually, they've written letters saying CVS and Walgreens, the 2 biggest drug retailers here, against providing that medication to their customers. To me, that's just, what's your view of all that?
He might not even have to do that. Or if he did, it doesn't matter, because right now in Texas, a federal court judge who was appointed by Trump could very well take away that right altogether nationally.
How can a Texas judge take it away nationally?
Because right now there's a lawsuit, and they very sneakily gave it to this particular federal judge. The organization obviously is completely anti-abortion, and they're saying now that they are suing the FDA because 20 years ago when they made this abortion pill, there's two different abortion pills or medications that a woman takes for a medical abortion. One of those is very well known, and they're saying now that the FDA illegally approved it back 20 years ago. It's been proven 99% effective for over 20 years. But no, this judge could, in one stroke of the pen, just like the Supreme Court did last year, change everything. And so that's up right now. Like, we can get the ruling anytime now. I think it should be coming in March, but we could literally have no abortion come March.
Okay. Did you see the State of the Union address the other night?
Forgive me, no, I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't.
Okay. Then I can't ask you what you thought of Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of these other people heckling Biden.
I didn't not want to watch it, but I still have not seen it just by time for my own time. But I purposely did not watch it because I did not want to get myself riled up. I'm like, I already think he's doing as well as he could as president, but I'm invested in this reproductive justice advocacy as much as possible. But I'm not going to put myself through unnecessary stress.
You went through some kind of a course about reproductive justice, right?
Correct.
Talk to me about that. Tell me about
For sure. Very grateful too. The actual organization that sponsored it was Us Now Colorado.
Okay.
I think I feel so bad I should know their name, but they have this leadership series called keepabortionsafe.org. So keepabortionsafe.org is like I guess you call it the subdivision of, and then the Keep Abortion Safe sponsored for free, so I didn't pay for it. It's a 8-week leadership series, and it's reproductive justice leadership series advocacy. So I officially became a reproductive justice advocate back in the fall of last year. And I feel bad because I think it's Progress Now Colorado. I could be wrong about that, but Progress Now Colorado is the main umbrella, and they have different initiatives and advocacies that they sponsor, and keepabortionsafe.org is one of those sponsored programs. And so through Keep Abortion Safe, I was able to go through this really in-depth, really awesome series, and it was wonderful. And that's why I'm here in front of you now, because I was given the tools and the resources and the confidence to put myself out there, because I have an age 11 niece, and right now she has less rights than I did growing up. And that's not right. So I can't let her live in a place that sees her as a second-class person, as not even a real person. Okay. That's why I'm here.
Okay. All right. Are there any other points you'd like to make, Cathy?
For now, just please bother your senators and your congresspeople to pass and get the ERA I say pass, but basically have it added to the Constitution. The Equal Rights Amendment is not going to solve the abortion problem, but it will finally give women and even non-binary people equal rights to men.
All right. Okay, Cathy. I appreciate you being with us on Lean to the Left. Enjoyed talking to you. So thank you, Cathy. Now we're going to take a quick break here, but I'll be right back with some closing comments. You won't want to miss it. Hey guys, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you'll come back on a regular basis and check out our interviews with guests on topics that I hope you find interesting, entertaining, and enlightening. Our episodes stream weekly, every Monday. Let your friends know about this podcast and take a minute to subscribe. Just go to podcast.leantotheleft.net to subscribe, check out the upcoming interview schedule, and listen to all of our episodes. And follow us on social media. Facebook at the Lean to the Left Podcast, Twitter at Lean to the Left 1, Instagram at BobGaddy_Lean to the Left, and TikTok at Lean to the Left. And you can watch the episodes at YouTube at Lean to the Left. And don't forget to visit our blog site, leantotheleft.net, where you'll find commentary on the news by some excellent writers with progressive perspectives on a whole range of topics. You can sign up as a member there, and of course, it's all free. Now, this is Bob Cathy signing off for Lean to the Left. Thanks for sharing your time with us.